All right, let's get started with this deep dive. And today, we're going deep, really deep, into one of the most influential texts in Hindu philosophy. We're talking about the Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah, it's a pretty big deal.
For sure. And, luckily our listeners provided some amazing resources for this deep dive. We've got a great intro to the Gita and a really helpful chapter-by-chapter breakdown. So our mission here is to really pull out the most important insights from all of this, to
Yeah.
give everyone listening the absolute essential takeaways.
Sounds good to me.
Great. So for anyone just joining us, the Bhagavad Gita, often just called the Gita, is a 700-verse scripture. It's actually part of this much larger epic, the Mahabharata. I always picture it as this huge, sprawling story right in the heart of ancient India.
Yeah, sounds a good way to think about it. The Mahabharata is this massive epic, and right in the middle of it, in the thick of this huge battle, the Kurukshetra War, that's where the dialogue of the Gita unfolds.
Okay, so let's set the scene here a little bit. We've got two sets of cousins, the Pandavas, who are the rightful heirs, and then the Kauravas, 100 brothers, all wanting that throne of Hastinapura.
Right.
Years and years of tension, failed peace talks. It all kind of erupts into this massive war, right?
Yeah, a really pivotal moment in the story.
Absolutely. And it's at this unbelievably intense moment, as the two armies are facing each other, ready to fight, that we meet Prince Arjuna. He's one of the 5 Pandava brothers. And he's having, like, the ultimate crisis.
Definitely not a good time for an existential crisis.
Right. But talk about pressure. He looks across the battlefield, and it's not just enemy soldiers he sees. It's his family, his teachers, his friends, people he loves and respects, all on the other side.
Talk about a dilemma.
Seriously, imagine that. Your duty as a warrior, part of the Kshatriya caste, tells you to fight. But fighting means potentially killing people you deeply care about.
That's a really tough situation to be in.
No kidding. And Arjuna is completely overwhelmed by this. He's just overcome with grief and confusion. He even questions, is this war even justified?
Hmm.
And in this really dramatic moment, he just puts down his weapons, refuses to fight.
That's a really key moment in the Gita, this deep despair that Arjuna feels. It's actually called Arjuna Vishada Yoga, which translates to the yoga of Arjuna's dejection. It's like the foundation for everything that follows. It's from this crisis, this complete breakdown, that Krishna's teachings really emerge.
And Krishna, of course, is a really fascinating character in all of this.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
At first, Arjuna just sees him as his charioteer,
Yeah.
a friend, an advisor.
Yeah, that's kind of the surface level. But there's so much more to Krishna than that.
So much more. And even though Arjuna doesn't fully get it at this point, Krishna is actually his divine guide. He's an avatar, an earthly manifestation of the supreme god Vishnu.
That's right. And so, with Arjuna kind of spiraling in despair, Krishna steps in. And his initial response to Arjuna's breakdown, which we find in the Sankhya Yoga, the yoga of transcendental knowledge, he goes straight to the heart of the matter. He starts talking about the eternal nature of the soul.
Yeah, so while our bodies are temporary, subject to birth and death, the soul, the true essence of who we are, that's immortal. It's indestructible, it can't be changed.
Exactly. And that's a really important concept for understanding the Gita. It's not just about this physical world and our experiences in it. It's about something much deeper, something eternal.
So Krishna is saying to Arjuna, look, the people you see on the battlefield, their bodies might be destroyed, but their souls, their essence, that will endure. That's got to be a pretty mind-blowing thing to hear in the middle of like a full-blown emotional crisis, right?
Right. Oh, absolutely. And then Krishna brings in this idea of dharma, which often gets translated as duty, but it's really more than just a duty, like a job you have to do. It's more like your inherent purpose, your unique role in the grand scheme of things, right? And Krishna makes it clear that Arjuna, as a warrior, has a specific dharma. He has a responsibility to uphold what's right, to fight for justice.
And this is not about personal gain or even about winning the war. It's about fulfilling this deeper purpose. It's like he's addressing Arjuna's paralysis head on, saying, this is what you're meant to do.
Exactly. And from this understanding of the eternal soul and one's dharma, we move into this idea of selfless action, which is really the heart of karma yoga.
Okay, so karma yoga, that's all about how we act in the world. What's the key principle here?
The core of karma yoga is to perform your actions without being attached to the results. It's about not getting caught up in wanting rewards or fearing consequences. Krishna's teaching Arjuna to focus on the action itself, doing it to the best of his ability, offering it up, instead of being driven by what he might gain or lose.
So it's not about winning or losing. It's about how you play the game.
Pretty much, yeah. And it's not just about this particular battle. It applies to everything in life, right? If you're not constantly fixated on what you'll get out of it, you can act more freely, more effectively in the present moment.
I like that. It's a good reminder. Now, we've also got Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yoga, the yoga of knowledge and renunciation of action. It seems like we can't just act blindly, though. Knowledge has to be part of it, too.
You got it. That's exactly what this chapter emphasizes. Knowledge and action are interconnected. They both play a crucial role in our spiritual growth. And renunciation, well, it's not about literally dropping everything and running off to a cave. It's about letting go of that attachment to the outcomes of our actions. And that detachment, that comes from wisdom, from a deeper understanding of ourselves and the divine.
So it's like acting with awareness, with intention.
Right.
And Kara Sannyasa Yoga, the yoga of renunciation, seems to really reinforce that idea. It goes even deeper into detachment.
It does, and Krishna gets really specific here. True renunciation, he says, isn't about running away from your responsibilities. It's about cultivating inner detachment while still engaging with the world. It's about doing what you need to do, fulfilling your obligations, but without being all tangled up in what happens as a result. Success or failure, it doesn't define you.
Still, that feels like a big ask. How do you truly separate yourself from wanting things to turn out a certain way when you're putting in so much effort?
Yeah, that's the challenge, right? But that's where dhyana yoga, the yoga of meditation, comes in. Krishna introduces meditation as a way to gain control over that constant chatter in our mind and the ups and downs of our emotions. He's basically saying that with practice, with discipline, you can learn to quiet the inner noise and cultivate a sense of peace, focus, and equanimity.
So meditation isn't just about chilling out, it's about training your mind. It's a skill you can develop.
That's it exactly. And a disciplined mind, a mind that's been trained through meditation, it becomes a powerful tool. It helps you to see your desires and attachments more clearly without being swept away by them. It gives you the space to choose how you respond instead of just reacting automatically.
And as we move deeper into the Gita, we get to Jnana Vijnana Yoga, the yoga of knowledge and wisdom. Here it feels like Krishna starts revealing a bit more of his true nature.
Yeah, he starts pulling back the curtain a little bit. In this chapter, he starts revealing himself as the supreme being, the ultimate reality behind everything. And he's teaching Arjuna about a deeper kind of knowledge, a knowledge of the divine, explaining that through both intellectual understanding and direct spiritual experience, you can start to grasp this absolute truth.
And that exploration of the absolute truth continues in Aksara Brahma Yoga, the yoga of the imperishable absolute. This is where we encounter some of the key concepts of Hindu philosophy, right? Like Atman, the eternal soul, and Brahman, the ultimate reality.
Right. And Krishna explains the difference between them, but also how they're connected. He's saying that Atman, the individual soul, is eternal and unchanging, and that it's part of Brahman, this all-encompassing ultimate reality. And he talks about the importance of our state of mind at the time of death, suggesting that remembering the divine in that moment can really influence our journey towards liberation, towards moksha.
And then we get to Rajavidya, Rajaguhya Yoga, the yoga of royal knowledge and royal secret. Just the name itself sounds like it's going to reveal something really profound.
Yeah, it's a big one. This is where Krishna reveals what he considers the highest knowledge, the deepest secret. And that's the path of devotion bhakti. He's emphasizing that surrendering to the divine with love, with complete faith, with a deep personal connection, that's the most direct and powerful way to reach liberation. And it's open to everyone, no matter who they are or what their background is.
Following this, we have Vibhuti Yoga, the yoga of divine glories. It seems like here Krishna is really showing off his power, his presence throughout creation.
Right. To really drive home the point of his supreme nature, Krishna reveals his divine manifestations throughout the universe. He's showing Arjuna that all the beauty, the power, the incredible complexity of the cosmos, it's all just a reflection of his divine energy.
And that leads to what's arguably the most dramatic moment in the whole Gita, described in Vishvarupa Darshana Yoga, the yoga of the vision of the universal form. Can you imagine what that must have been like for Arjuna?
It was a total game changer. At Arjuna's request, Krishna grants him this divine vision, allowing him to see his cosmic form. And what Arjuna sees is just mind-blowing. He sees the infinite nature of God, realizing that Krishna encompasses all of creation, all beings, all realities, all at once. It's like the ultimate aha moment, where he finally understands Krishna's true nature, his all-pervasive presence.
After witnessing that, it's no wonder the path of devotion, bhakti yoga, is emphasized again. It seems like that's a central thread running through the whole Gita.
Oh, absolutely. While the Gita explores different paths to spiritual realization, Bhakti Yoga, the yoga of love, devotion, and surrender, that's consistently presented as the most accessible and perhaps the most fulfilling path for most people. It's about cultivating a deep, loving relationship with the divine through surrender, through unwavering faith, and through acts of service performed with love.
Kshetrajna Vibhaga Yoga, the yoga of the field and the knower of the field, brings us back to understanding the nature of ourselves, right?
Exactly. This chapter explores the difference between kshetra, which refers to the physical body, the field where all our actions take place, and kshetrajna, the knower of the field, which is the eternal soul, the consciousness that animates the body. Krishna is saying that understanding this difference, recognizing that we are not just our physical forms, but the eternal essence within, that's essential for spiritual growth.
Then we've got the three gunas in Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga, sattva, rajas, and tamas. These are presented as fundamental qualities that shape our experiences and even the fabric of reality.
Right. Krishna explains that all of nature, including us, is influenced by these three gunas: sattva, which represents purity, goodness, and harmony; rajas, which is all about passion, activity, and desire; and tamas, which signifies inertia, ignorance, and delusion. Understanding how these gunas work within us and in the world around us, that gives us a framework for understanding why we do the things we do. And it's a step towards moving beyond their influence, towards liberation.
And Purushottama Yoga, the yoga of the Supreme Divine Personality, it feels like it's tying all these threads together, reaffirming Krishna's ultimate place in the cosmic order.
Exactly. This chapter reiterates Krishna's supreme position as the Purushottama, the Supreme Divine Personality. He transcends both the material world, which is temporary, and the realm of individual souls, which are eternal. He's presented as the source of everything, the sustainer of everything, and the ultimate goal of everything.
Following this, we have Daivasura Sampad Vibhaga Yoga, the yoga of the division between the divine and the demonic. This one seems to offer some pretty clear ethical guidance.
It does. This chapter lays out the qualities that characterize those with the divine nature versus those with demonic tendencies. It's pretty straightforward. Cultivating divine qualities like compassion, truthfulness, and self-control leads towards liberation, while indulging in demonic qualities like arrogance, greed, and anger leads to suffering and bondage. It's like a roadmap for making choices that align with your highest self.
And Shraddhatraya Vibhaga Yoga, the yoga of the threefold faith, this one dives into the nature of faith itself.
Right. Krishna explains that faith isn't a one-size-fits-all thing. It manifests in three different ways, each connected to one of the three gunas we talked about. The quality of your faith, whether it's primarily sattvic, rajasic, or tamasic, it influences your actions, your choices, your whole spiritual journey.
And then finally we reach Moksha Sannyasa Yoga, the yoga of liberation and renunciation. This is the culminating chapter, the grand finale of the whole Gita.
It is, and Krishna does a beautiful job of summarizing the key teachings of the Gita in this chapter. He reminds Arjuna and us about the importance of acting in accordance with our dharma without being attached to the results. He emphasizes the power of surrendering to the divine will, of recognizing the eternal nature of our true selves. True liberation, moksha, comes through this integrated practice of selfless action, deep knowledge, unwavering devotion, and complete surrender to the divine.
So there you have it. We've gone from Arjuna's complete meltdown on the battlefield all the way through these incredibly deep and complex teachings about duty, the nature of reality, and the paths to liberation. The Bhagavad Gita, even in this quick overview, is just such a rich and timeless source of wisdom.
It really is. And what's amazing is that even though it's an ancient text, it still resonates with people today. All over the world, people are finding meaning and guidance in its words. It speaks to those fundamental human questions about our purpose, our responsibilities, the nature of suffering, and the search for meaning. It offers timeless advice for navigating the challenges of life and finding inner peace amidst all the chaos. And that, I think, is the real power of the Bhagavad Gita.
I think you're right. So for everyone listening, consider this. The Gita really emphasizes selfless action and detachment. How might you apply those principles in your own life? What are you attached to? What motivates you? It's a question worth pondering. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Thanks for having me. It's been great.
It has.
Yeah.
Definitely.
All right, that's it for this deep dive. Until next time.
See you then.